Right, it gives me great pleasure to introduce episode 125 of the Sussex by the Sea podcast, and I've got the wonderful debonair Billy Wood, who's a friend of the show, been on many times
Indeed.
in his role when he was the Hastings CEO,
Yes,
where you
indeed.
were, sir, and
CEO slash chairman. Yeah.
chairman slash
Women's
um,
manager
w-
slash cleaner of the kit slash put the flags out slash the bar. Slash, yeah, you could go on. You go on.
But no, great to see him. He's now the coach of AFC Uckfield, Step Six, as I think it's
Yeah.
Step Six, isn't it? Yeah,
Yeah.
Step Six club. We've had a rebrand, looking quite dapper. The
Yeah.
rebrand,
Yeah.
not as much grief as you might have got for the Hastings one. I don't. It looks quite good. The Uckfield one. We'll
Yeah.
touch
Do
on
you
the
know,
Hastings one maybe, but as
funny
well.
enough, Chris, with the
Yeah.
Hastings one, actually, even going back to it now, we got the positive massively outweighed the negative. But as
Mm.
we know, in life and in politics and in business,
Yeah. Can't be
the vocal minority will always. I'm not
Yeah.
having a go at John Wills there. That's for
Oh,
sure.
yeah, I was going to say, is it? Oh, yeah, definitely Willsy, 100%. Bless him. But
Shout out John Wills.
yeah, I love John Mills. Billy, before we get cracking into your beginning your career in coaching at men's level,
Yeah,
so you obviously was a few years at coaching the women's team.
yeah,
At
sure, yeah,
Hastings, yeah, you kind of pushed that again, something that
yeah,
had stopped, and you get always, you get a crowd in the door. You're
mhm.
obviously good at the old socials. Got a team together very, very quickly, as I remember,
Yeah.
a few years ago now, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Well, it was 2020, in the midst of COVID. We got that together. I didn't ever want to manage the women's team. It kind of fell on me back then, just because I was so heavily involved and wanted it to succeed. Things didn't go the way we wanted with the manager that we put in place. In hindsight, probably just a bit too young for the job. So I took it on and kind of stayed in. When we got promoted, to stayed in. And look, we had a lot of success. Like, I think the on the pitch, we barely lost a game, which, considering we finished second in the league 2 years in a row, and only losing, I think, 3 games in 2 seasons
Mm.
in league football, is actually an absolute travesty, and kind of shows you where women's football is. So yeah, that's kind of how I got into women's management anyway, women's coaching, and then that led me to, when I left Hastings. Look, I think that's been covered enough, and I think we don't need to go into me leaving Hastings,
Mm.
a club that I still absolutely love, and I'm sure we'll talk about it at some point on this pod. But
Mm.
I moved. I got offered a job at the National League side because of the success of the women's side at Hastings. So I went to Haywards Heath, which was a rebrand from Crawley Wasp. But unfortunately, and no disrespect to the chairman there, Steve Isherwood, who's a guy that I got on really well with. I just never felt right there. I never felt like it was geared up for National League women's football. It's a big step. You need a lot off the field at a club like at that level. And I just didn't feel Haywards Heath had that. They were a club that, where the men's got relegated from the Isthmian South East
Yeah.
League, were in County League football. Their focus was to get out of County League football last year, and they've supported us without a doubt. But it was just, don't think the understanding really was there about where you've got to travel, what players you need to recruit, what that means budget wise, and just all those things. And it got to a point where it weren't working for both of us. To be fair, it weren't working for them. It definitely weren't working for me.
Mm.
And I ended up at Eastbourne Borough Women, which was interesting, let's just say.
Go on then. Well, yeah. What happened there? Because you weren't there too long, were you? So,
No, I joined there in end of September. On the pitch, incredibly successful. I promoted 6 players from the development squad, 16-year-olds, into the first team. I brought, obviously, as everyone says, the players. And this is a misconception. So when I left Hastings United Women, they obviously didn't have a great season last year on the pitch. It was pretty
yeah.
poor. And again, no disrespect to Tom, my former assistant manager, just didn't work. But the perception is that Billy took all his players with him, which was absolutely unfounded. When I went to Haywards Heath, I took Ella Roper, who I only brought into Hastings 6 months prior from Maidstone, a club that was bottom of our league, Beth Crease and Charlotte Gurr, right? So 3 players.
Mm.
Lucy Apps left us in in February already. She was already gone from the club for 4 months. So I never took her from Hastings. And then when I went to Borough, it coincided with Kelly Larkin coming back from pregnancy, Claire Johnson coming back from pregnancy. Guernsey joined me over there. And then later on, Nicole Bateup did, who actually stayed at Hastings when we went to Eastbourne United and then joined me the back end of the Borough run. But we promoted a lot of young players, gave them their first opportunity at senior football. And I feel like I actually put together my most enjoyable team. I really enjoyed coaching that team. I felt I still think it's got so much more potential to grow. And we went from bottom of the league to finishing second in the league and getting to the Eastbourne FA Cup final, and only losing on penalties to New Haven, who won the league. I failed to win the league above. I failed to win two years in a row, and we took them to penalties. So the league champions of the league above couldn't beat us in 90 minutes. In fact, we were 3-2 up with 1 minute to go, which is frustrating. It was a good season on the pitch. Off the pitch, I respect. There's people I respect at that club. There's people I don't respect at that club. If I'm gonna, Chris, I'm never one to hide or hide away from what I think. I think there's a fair few people that talk the talk, but I think I've proven in my years that I do talk the talk. There's no denying, but I also
definitely talk, Billy.
I talk, that, but I walk it as well, Chris. I will put myself in situations that I've got to deliver in, and sometimes what happens when you do that is you can get egg on your face. But at Borough, I think there were some really good people at the club. I think a lot of really good people have left. I think if you look online now, I think their kind of their reach and what they do is isn't what they were doing last year, and I think that's probably because a couple of behind the scenes departures who I won't talk about why they departed, but there's reasons why they departed. Got a lot of time for Simon Leslie, the owner. I think he's an absolutely lovely guy, and I still message him now. The weekend, our first game, wished me all the best of luck, and I said, cheers, boss. Hopefully, I can get a result, and we have a good relationship. But I didn't have a good relationship with everyone there because I felt I'm quite direct and quite upfront, and a lot of people weren't. It wasn't the best. It wasn't the best move for me wise, and I think it kind of stained my feeling. Like Hastings never, even at the end when I felt really worn out from the fight with the council and fight for the stadium, and the change with Darren and Peter in the sense that they were worn out, which caused us friction as well. And just on record, I still speak to Darren to this day as well. He still sends me messages all the time. So I've never fallen out with any owners, but I left Hastings with no disdain, and I still come and stand behind the goal and sing songs when I can, don't I? So I love that club. But with Borough, I just felt nothing made sense. And I left there of my own will. When I got offered the Uckfield situation, I did offer that I would continue to do the women's team as well. It's two different worlds. I was told under no circumstances I could do both. And I felt a bit disrespected in the messages I received. And I said, well, if you're going to make me choose, you're always going to lose because you're holding up a stupid ultimatum that don't make sense. So I resigned, and I wish the new manager all the best there. I still have an idea what's going on because I've got people at the club that are very close to me. And I wish him all the best. But accountability is everything. And I talk to my players about accountability. They just got to have accountability for what goes on there and what goes on in the future, in my opinion.
Well, Billy, so you talk about your transition from women's to men's football. So there's a few questions I want to ask about that. Firstly, in terms of coaching, like what any particular difference between your women's and men's in terms of their reaction to you? And obviously women's football is not as developed at all as men's. No,
it's not.
So you might have more of a more listening ear. Have you found that with men's football, the lads that you've been working with have maybe been a bit kind of like, you're coming from women's football?
No, not at all. No, look, I thought that so what I did is the way I ended up at Uckfield was I helped Nick Bignell out when he was interim manager for the last 3 games of the season. He needed some coaching help just on the sidelines with games. And I went and helped out. And that kind of got me a little bit of a taste for football. I helped out Mostyn as well, the under-18s at Eastbourne Borough for a couple of games. So I kind of just got a little bit of a taste for it. And it was a bit of apprehension of mine. Oh, he's gone from like he manages women's footballers. He's not a men's football manager. And like, with all due respect, I wasn't a manager at all 5 years ago. So I can understand people might have a misconception of me or not think that I can do certain things. And when I went into it, speaking to all the players, the recruitment wise, I've done all my own recruitment, every player. I was very fortunate at Hastings that with the recruitment process with Gary and with Aggie, that I would obviously negotiate the final amount we would spend on players and what have you. And I always had a very good relationship with the men's players at Hastings, and got to spend a lot of time with Chris, with the coaching staff, and then with Gary and John Meaney. So you get a good understanding what men's footballers want, or the attitude, what you can say, what you can't say. It's very different. Change room wise, it's very different. I'm not saying it's not PC in my change room, but there's a fair few more swear words getting thrown in, which probably suits me a little bit better. If I'm honest, I think I used to get branded a bit aggressive in the women's game when I was never aggressive with the players, but I'm a winner, and I know I'm a winner, and I think that's my biggest strength, that I love winning, and I can express that a bit more in the men's game. You could be a little bit harsher. I've had situations with players where they've made mistakes in the women's game and been quite emotional. With the men, you can kind of, when you need to, and you have to dig them out, you can dig them out. And it's about the response of that. It's not oh, well, that guy's an arsehole and I'm not going to play for him ever again because he told me I had a bad game. It's a bit different. And I think I never will ever disrespect the women's game. And there's no reason why I couldn't go back into the women's game at some point if I wanted to. I just think I'm really enjoying this. I'm really enjoying being around the lads. I'm really enjoying working with the coaches that I brought in. I'm really enjoying the dilemmas of players. Like even before this call, I'm sorting out signing a player from an Isthmian League side for tomorrow. So I'm enjoying being back in the men's game now. I wasn't a manager of Hastings. I was not a coach of Hastings, but I was around bringing through some of the best youngsters, and also moving them on to bigger clubs, and also bringing in established players to Hastings. So my pool of contacts in men's football, managers, players, clubs, I think suits me better. And yeah, it's the transition's been a lot less worrying than I thought it would be to start with.
Good. I mean, one of the things that, I spoke to you about it before we started, but myself and Billy, we love Keeping It 100 podcast, Conan and Disco Inferno, because we're sad, old school sad wrestling fans.
That's it.
And one of the things that Conan talks about, he's a promoter. He's got very big in Mexico and America. And he was saying that you could have a locker room of 100 men and you won't get as much drama as 5 women in a locker room. That sounds terribly sexist from me.
It does.
But is it drama-wise, is there
there's different
a correlation?
Different sort of drama. When I'm picking a 16, I'm going to get players ask me why they're not in it and cause issues, right? It's going to happen. I've got one situation today that I've been dealing with. I think with the women, you hear it from other people rather than them direct. They don't come to you direct with their problems. It go through the skipper or it go through, and that's okay. This might just be the way it's done with women's football. It is hard to keep a women's dressing room happy, especially when players aren't playing. I'm only a couple of games in, so I've not had the experience of leaving players out for prolonged periods yet. I had a situation on Sunday. Sorry, it's not Sunday. Sorry, Tuesday. I had a game where we were winning 5-1 against Reigate Priory in the league, and I started bringing on subs and giving people minutes. And my physio, who was with me at Borough and has been around the women's game for a long time, said you went into women's manager mode a little bit. It was like you're trying to please the players by giving them minutes. So I think there is that element you do have in women's game. You've got to keep people happy. But yeah, look, I think with the men's game, it's a little bit more take it on the chin.
Okay. Well, yeah. Well, AFC Uckfield, obviously.
Yeah.
Big rebrand when you come in. Were you involved with that as it happened? Yeah.
Of course I was. Come on. Mr. Rebrand, aren't I? Like everyone says, Billy's, going to have every he's going to change every badge in the county at some point. So, the big thing about me is I've had a million clubs. Like people say that all the time. The truth is, Chris, I had Eastbourne United for a year, Hastings for 4 years. And I've just had a whirlwind year, really, with the 2 manager jobs that I've taken.
Yeah.
With Uckfield. So I'll give you a little bit of I pulled the curtain back a little bit of Uckfield, because when I started helping coaching, it kind of came up the club was in a bit of a die away. Had a really good committee. They had no direction, didn't know what they wanted to do, went ready to walk, got relegated. Players didn't want to play for the club. The pitch was awful. Like it was like I don't know, it felt like it was the end of Uckfield. Really did. So when I spoke to him, I said, look, what do you guys actually need? Like, yeah, a manager, great, but what do you need? And it became apparent that the club just needed a bit of guidance off the pitch. So I actually have done a deal where I effectively own the club, which people may or may not know. But I did a deal where, and I proposed it to the committee, that we would change the footballing culture of the football club, change just everything around what we're going to do and how we're going to do it. And with that, we did the badge change was to kind of simplify it and take it into a new direction of what the committee were going to deliver over the summer. We have completely overhauled the ground. The pitch is a million times better. And I thank Simon Ruckins for his I message him all the time about the pitch. And
it does look good. I mean, the stuff you've put out on the socials, it does picturesque.
Yeah. A lovely area.
There's so many clubs in Sussex where, if they maybe put a tiny bit more effort in, the picturesque grounds, really nice. You think people get down it, and your ground in particular, it looks like a lovely place to go and watch a game of football. So
nice beer garden now as well. Like the clubhouse is connected to the ground, so it's all in one. So the clubhouse isn't separated, so you didn't have to go back and forth to have a wee or get a pint. You can just go in, get a pint, come straight into where you are, and it allows them to work out who's actually paid to come in and what numbers are in the ground. We've created a players lounge, which is great for attracting players. It's given them an area to go play pool, darts, watch the football games, like the EFL games will be on tomorrow on the TV, things like that. We've just put pumps in there, so draft beer, IPAs.
Oh, you're sort of the old man in me. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So we've got the draft beer in there.
Yeah.
But this isn't, people go, well done to me, but all I've done is driven a committee to deliver it. Like 15 people, like random people, like Jimmy the painter, like who's a local painter guy. He messaged the Facebook page. He's painted the stands red because they were in the old blue and black colours from 1999, right? So he's come in and done that. You've got Shell and Tash. Like Tash is our treasurer and Shell's our secretary, but they've been doing all the decorating inside. You've got people like Nick, Paul, Si, Mally, Aid, like John, all these people that have given their time to, like Rob, who's actually my goalkeeping coach as well, given their time to like completely transform that club in the summer, like completely. And it's a completely different club. Like it genuinely is. And people come there and go, oh, like you've done a lot, like a lot's changed. The pitch is playable. You can play football on it. It's not bobbly, and it's just brought it back to life. Put a new PA system in there, so your people can hear like there's music before games and like announcements. So it's turned it into a proper stadium. And the effect of that is our first league game on Tuesday night at home, our first home game, we had 182 people there. Like the club, I remember doing a game with Nick end of last season. We had Lingfield. There was like 30 people on the ground. We had 100. Like the lads were about to go out, and I'm walking out, and I look over at the turnstile, and there's a queue coming in, and I'm thinking to myself, well, we must be doing something right. So it's on us to, don't get me wrong, win games of football to keep them coming, but the social elements there, like we've got neighbours, we've got like a park homes, like an elderly park homes estate next door, and you can imagine football, swearing, loud noise and stuff. There's that massive apprehension from them. So what I did was I invited them in for tea and cake. They got to ask me questions, and they said, is it going to be loud? Is it going to be this? And I said, yeah, it's going to be louder. If anything, it's going to be louder. If anything, you're going to get more kids coming and watch. We're going to change what this club is. It's going to be fun. And you know what? They were like, that sounds fun for us. Rather than, the noise. Because someone was honest with them and just said, I'm not going to tell you it's not going to be loud. because it's got to be loud, you
You
know.
bloody
So
hope it is.
yeah, well, I do, as long as we keep getting engaged. Yeah, that's for
Yeah.
sure. But it's just for me, it was just about changing that philosophy and doing that. So yeah, I'm happy with that sense. In that sense,
You know, you're good in the old socials as well, and
yeah,
it is amazing what you can do with a bit of a few volunteers and a bit of energy. You can really change a direction of a club. Yeah.
yeah. Well, look, for example, the sponsorships have gone through the roof. You know, our online, I look at our metrics, and our online is like through the roof.
Oh, is
But yeah,
it?
the metrics are through the roof. We've changed literally like everything in that sense. Like the whole feeling and vibe of the club has changed. On social media, and this is when I mentioned about Borough. When I came into the club, I looked at it. I thought, oh wow, their social media is excellent.
Mm.
And I've seen that just completely drop off off the planet. Like, and the same with Hastings. If I'm
Yeah,
brutally,
yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a bugbear
um,
of mine as well.
and for me, delivering something for people to be excited about gets people coming up. And I saw a comment. We lost our first game of the season, and someone on social media made a comment of, "You don't win county leagues on social media," and they're right. You don't
Yeah,
win
it's
county
true.
leagues on
Yeah, it's
social
true.
media. But what the club as a business, as a county league team that needs to generate revenue to survive, it needs social media. It needs the extra 10, 20, 30, 40 people coming up to the ground, because if
Can
they
make a
all
big
spend the
difference.
tenner, that's 400
Mm.
quid.
Mm.
That's massive. That pays the electric bill. So I get the point when people get funny about social media, but they get funny for the wrong reasons.
Mm.
The way I look at it is they feel like
Mm.
inferior to it a little bit, and it's
Mm.
like a defense mechanism. Oh, fucking social media, rah 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 rah. All you are is you're announcing players on social. Yeah, of course, because all right, and what we do is we won't do anything. We'll just have a game on
Yeah,
Saturday.
just
It'll
turn
be
up.
3 o'clock kickoff, and we'll announce at 2 o'clock the game's on. We won't tell anyone who plays for us. We won't. We might put out a video of a goal, and that's it. And that's fine if clubs want to do that. But the aspirations of anything I'm involved in is we want to be better than we were before. So that's why I've said, like, our socials and our graphics have to be Premier League quality. You have to look at the graphic and think, could a Chelsea put that out? Like, or an
That's
Arsenal,
a high bar. That's a high bar, Billy.
well, you have to. You
Yeah.
have to have that mentality. Now, don't get me wrong. There's not going to be everything that we put out is going to be of that ability, of that level. But you've got
Mm.
to aspire to that. It's like when I was at Hastings, when we did the first ever night kit launch with David and Izzy Payne, right? And we gave it a brand, the all the smoke brand, and we did the video and stuff,
Mm.
because we were trying to lift the brand of the club up.
Mm.
And what happened? Hastings went from having 500 people watching to 1,200 people on average watching. So did it work? Question's right. It did, didn't it? So
Yeah.
anyone who gives anyone crap for trying to be better, they need to get a better job. And when I said it's like, well, they need to stop like hating their life, and they
Yeah.
need to just relax and enjoy
Yeah.
it, enjoy the content.
Mm. Yeah. Well, talking about that, so you're talking about the Premier League. So, all right, off the pitch, you're going for it. There's
Yeah,
obviously a sea change at the club in terms of what you can get there, you can turn up. The actual experience of watching the game has changed. On the pitch, what
yeah.
are your kind of hopes for kind of this season and for the next couple of years? What are you looking at? Where are you looking at going?
Look, this year we basically put a brand new team together. It's a good side, but it's a brand new side. So I kept 4 lads from previous years at the club, and we brought in a lot of players. Obviously, my relationship with Hastings has allowed Harry Howes to come over, which I think Harry can be he can be a future. He is going to be a future Hastings goalkeeper. That's my opinion of H.
There's quite a few goalies at Hastings at the moment, but we
I
won't
know,
go there.
I know,
Yeah, anyway.
I know. Feel sorry for them.
Yeah.
Well, if they want to come play from the 23s, they can.
Yeah.
So if they ever
Yeah.
want to get minutes, they're more than welcome. But yeah, H is doing well, and we've brought Alec in as well, who was a prominent 18s player and has been doing the first team pre-season with Hastings. Does a bit of coaching for some of the younger teams at Hastings too, and he's a delightful lad who's got abundance of skill. Brought him a few players from higher up leagues. Brought a couple of like stalwarts at this level. Spoke with a few people of players that have been recommended to me,
Mm.
like Riley Tate and Billy Cripp were with Aggie at Eastbourne Borough previously, and well, before Aggie came to Hastings, and I got an opinion from Aggie on those. His opinion was correct. They're both absolute Rolls Royces. But yeah, we just put together a real exciting team. Our thing was we don't want to concede, so we spent all pre-season becoming really hard to beat, break down, but we weren't scoring enough goals. Nil-nils, and I was like, oh God. Well. So then our first game of the season, we make 2 clangers away at Chessington, and we lose the game 2-1, right? But for the second half, we were at them, only got 1 goal. Then on Tuesday night, we end up scoring 5, right? So suddenly the brakes have come off. It's now clicking, but we conceded 3, like too late on, lots of changes like I talked about. And so I've talked about being defensively solid, and we've conceded 5 and 2. So it's like basketball down here. If you want excitement, value for your money. For £7, you get 8 goals. So come down to the Oaks. But talking about aspirations, it's not an easy league. There's some really experienced teams. It's going to be a bit of a roller coaster, Chris. I think there's going to be weeks where we'll win. There's going to be weeks where we lose, either expected to lose or might lose a tough game, or get caught out. And we're going to get caught out. But we've got 38 games in total in the league. We've got 36 left. A lot of points to win, a lot of points to lose.
Well, I was just sitting on the fence this one. Yeah, go on, keep going.
No, don't sit on the fence. Come on, this is me, right? I don't sit on the fence. I think we've got to try and finish in the playoffs. I think that's what we got to try and do. I think giving the club a bit of excitement they've had a fair few years of it being fighting at the bottom of the table. I think it'd be nice to kind of give them something to look forward to. But most importantly, it's about getting the culture right, footballing right. That's the thing that we've been talking about through. We changed it. We've got rid of having a reserves team in the Mid Sussex Championship. We've gone 18s, 23s first team. And we've moved our 18s into the County League rather than the Mid Sussex League, and we've got County League 23s as well. So we're looking at the pathway, and I'm working with Uckfield Grasshoppers, which is the youth section locally, to kind of really polish that pathway. And see if we can build some Uckfield homegrown players through the years as well. So I just think we've got to get the footballing culture right. We're going to make loads of mistakes, and I keep telling the lads that as well. It's one game at a time. But look, let's see where we are by Christmas. I think the first 10 games will give us an idea, but I'm confident enough that we've got enough in the locker to compete.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll have you on again before Christmas, or maybe around Christmas, and then we'll have this conversation again, mate.
100%.
No, it's exciting stuff. As I say, there's lots of things to get. You don't have to just go and watch the bigger teams in Sussex. It's about no disrespect, but the smallerish teams.
Yeah, we are.
Very, as I say, very picturesque. Start going popping and watching Westfield. There's a lot of clubs that you can go to, local clubs, and have a beer, watch half decent football, and obviously you're going to watch a lot of goals at Billy's Promise Goals.
Yeah, I like excitement. Everyone knows I'm a big on excitement. So let's hope we can do that.
100%. Who you got Saturday?
We've got a big game Saturday. We've got Billingshurst, who have won their first 2 league games, and they won on Tuesday night 7-0. So they like goals like I like goals by the looks of things. But look,
so is it going to be Jose park the bus? Or is it all out attack?
Look, we've got so many exciting attacking players that if we park a bus, it's not going to work for us. We've got a good side. I look at it like this. I think you can never judge much from the first couple of games of the season. I actually told the lads a story when we lost our first game at Billingshurst, at Cheshunt Hook. Because, you're excited. You're going into your first league game. All the players want to win the league. That's why they're here. They're not here because they want to be in a relegation scrap. And we go and lose. And I said to them all, you can never judge the first game of the season. I never forget going to Ramsgate away and being 3-0 down at half-time.
And it was raining. When it raining, wasn't it, as well? I'm sure
horrible
it was raining.
Rain. Our physio got sent off for saying that the referee was wrong.
It was. That was definitely that.
And we lost the game 3-0, right? We battled and been on that pitch for another hour. We've never scored a goal. That year, we had the best run since Christmas to go and win a league of football. Yes, we had a management change, but it was still the same players. There was not much change. And we went on and won the Isthmian South East League, right, as a football club, Hastings United. And I told the players, the first couple of games, you don't win or lose a league in August. You don't win or lose a league in September. So we just need to be patient with the lads. We've got a big squad, lots of different cups to play for as well. And I won't get too high and I won't get too low. It's lovely seeing 5 goals go in the back of the net on Tuesday, but it done me in conceding 2 late goals because of all the changes. And the players didn't get their flowers after the game. They got a rollicking because we've got standards here. And the lads that know they didn't put the shift in, no. And they've come back into training on Thursday up for it. And they know that I'm not messing around at this football club, that's for sure.
Well, I can't have Billy on. Without just asking him what he thinks of what's going on at Hastings. Obviously, we're just about our first game against our first game of the season at home. It just so happens I'll be commentating on it with the lovely.
I was asked on Tuesday night, Chris.
And you turned him down, didn't you?
The guy from Hastings came up to me. He's come up to me and went, "Billy, is there any chance you can come and commentate for the Hastings?" I went, "I'm here, mate. I'm going to be."
Yeah. He even asked Gary Histed. He ran out of people to talk to. The Muggins was the last one on the list, obviously. And I'm always happy to help Tom out. Yeah, lovely guy. But what's your feelings about how you think Hastings are going to do this season, and your kind of thoughts about the changes since you were there?
I think it's interesting. I think it's weird because it feels a lot longer, but I've actually only been gone from the club now 14 months. It feels like years because I think a lot's happened. I think Chris left for a big opportunity, and it is frustrating. And I know how frustrating that must be because as fans, no one ever wants to see anyone move on, especially if they gave the spiel like we're going to develop players and what have you, and this is a project. And I was in the middle of a project when I left, and it still bothers me to this day, Chris, that I left when I left. I think with Hastings United is in a really, really interesting situation, both on and off the field, in my opinion. On the field, Danny's a million times different to what you're used to, and not just Chris Agata, John Meaney, Gary Elphick, completely different. Same with the coaching staff. I don't think it'll be the same. Now, I don't know because I'm not at sessions, but I can't imagine it's the same, whether it's right or wrong, because that's for Danny to deliver. Like if Danny gets results, it's right, but it's going to be different. The one thing that concerns me about the club is the excitement doesn't feel the same. Didn't like the fact that they got involved in the politics of this week either, but that was me personally feeling that.
I agree with that.
Football should be an escapism. I think football doesn't need to be involved in that side of things, especially with councillors that have not looked after the club in the past, if we're honest. But the interesting point for me is we're all seeing what Darren Burney said. So you're going to turn up on Saturday, or you've been to some of the friendlies, and you look up at the main stand, and what do you see? You see areas blocked off because they're unsafe. You see a ground that is still not in great nick. People said that was Darren Burney trying to make the place messy. That was Darren Burney trying to get his way with the council. Look around the ground. It's not like it's been cleaned up, if we're honest. I think it's a big couple of years, and I think the owners off the pitch have got a big job now to stabilise for the future, and that's where their focus is going to be. It's got to be. And that's not me disobeying any trust or any information that I know, but they have got to focus on the long-term future of our football club. On the pitch, will it be as exciting? I don't know. We'll find out. And if there's no games, like I'm going to come Monday night to watch the FA Youth Cup game because my heart will always be Hastings United. If people ask me who I support, and I say Hastings United, I still say it to this day, right? So I want the club to do well on the pitch. But I think it's going to be an interesting time. I think the fear-mongering is gone. And I think the realisation has settled in a little bit that, yes, long live the pilot field, but not in its current situation. It's unfeasible. It's completely unfeasible. So hopefully they can find the right finance and investment off the pitch to do what they need to do. Because if they don't, then it's going to be very perilous for the football club. And that's the scary part, and the part that people don't want to admit or will hide away from. I feel that the club needs to galvanise the fans again. It feels a little bit flat, and I think the club, if the club can do that, then they'd be fine. And I also think a couple of wins changes that too. So I'll be rooting for Danny. I'll be rooting for the lads. I'm glad to see the likes of Chapo, Finney Chapman start getting his chance. I'm happy. I love seeing the fact that Freddie Legg's still there. Kieran Moynes, Davids, Adam, Dicko, buzzing Louis back, even though that means they've got 2 goalkeepers and it's hard to keep 2 happy. Defensively, I'm not seeing enough to see how the club's going to do on the pitch, and I don't know how many recognised centre halves are at the club. Give Craig Stone a call, is what I would say. But I think.
Well, I don't know how that'll go down, but yeah. Go on, Billy. Go on.
Call Agent Malk here, pretty soon.
Agent Malk, yeah.
But I always wish the best for Hastings United, and whenever I get a phone call from Hastings United or be asked to give my opinion or consultation on anything Hastings United based, still to this day I do it, because I hold no ill with the football club. In fact, I love the football club. I love the supporters. They used to love me. I don't know if they do anymore, but I will always back that club, and I'm hoping that we have a successful season on the pitch, but most importantly, off the pitch needs to be looked after, and I'm hoping the guys get that right.
Yeah, I mean, just to comment, I'm more interested in the off the pitch stuff these days at the moment. Like, we've got to be sensible, no ridiculous. Well, it seems like we're doing it anyway, though, but no ridiculous squad size. We need to downsize that a little bit and focus on making sure that we're viable long term.
I know it sounds really horrible to say, but survival this year. Look, and that hurts me to say that, because my Hastings United, let's just say, as everyone knows, I was so ambitious, and probably too ambitious sometimes, that whatever we were in, we wanted to win. Right, that was always my way. And it pains me to say, but just surviving this year will be a success because of what's going on off the field, right? So just to the supporters, be a bit patient. Be patient with Danny. Be patient with the owners. They've got a big 2 years, and if they deliver it, then they need pats on the back, and if they don't, then it's going to need someone else to do that job. And the good thing is, the owners you've got at this football club aren't selfish enough to think that they're just going to hold on to it and let it run to rot. If they think they can't fix it, they will find a solution.
No. Well, look, listen, Billy, thanks for your thoughts on Hastings. Yeah, I mean, I'm more thinking we're mid-table this season.
Agree.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Like, we've got some players there. We've got goals. I'm a bit worried with the defence. I think.
Well, Daniel Adjakai, first weekend of the season isn't a fun visit, is it? Thankfully, the pitch is a bit bobbly.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm hoping puts him off. Bloody Horsham. Hopefully, Horsham have had the wool over us for ages. So pray that we can get one over on them. Anyway, listen. Yeah, fingers crossed. Billy, thank you very much for your time. Good luck at AFC Uckfield. I hope you smash it, and maybe see it at the Hastings at some point as well.
And if I don't and I get the sack, I'll be asking for a job behind the bar with Dane. So tell Dane to get his phone ready, because I might give him a call.
All right, I will. Okay, cheers, take care, Billy. Yeah, see you, mate.